Congratulations, because we've already done quite some things. We've installed our first driver, we could create an element, and we have seen how to understand what the development does. We could navigate through it using the paperclips in the DIS. Now, I'm still developing. I want to fine-tune, for instance, the layout, and we can use the DIS again to make it easy for us to do layout changes. Let's go and jump to our Visual Studio again. Now, instead of working with these params, we've seen the different structures already, and I can I can code things with these XML definitions, but I can also use a nice tool called Display Editor. Now, on the top of your protocol definition, you can find some nice buttons here, which are linked to my DataMiner Integration Studio. One of them is Display Editor. Now, my Display Editor makes it possible for me to compose my pages. I can create new pages, I can move param definitions on there, make sure that my layout is nice, and then even publish my definition to my system to make sure that it's quite nice. Now, the publish is not part of the Display Editor, but it's part of my DIS. Now let's go and jump to the general page. Of course, this was already created. But imagine I want to restyle this a little bit. I want to shift the layout. Maybe I want to move this total CPU capacity to the bottom, and maybe I'm going to move this total memory as well, and so on. I can move this to another page, or even not another page, but another column, or even move it to a different new column. Now, I did mention another page. It is possible as well, because you can see all of your params here listed. And I can select one, drag and drop, and go to a different page. Or I can, again, drag and drop, go to a different page, and drop it there. I can drag it again, move to whatever page, and just insert it. Let's go back to my page itself. If I want to add a new one, something that is not on there yet, let's use this one. Although it doesn't really make sense to put it in my display, I can again drag it from the list, move it on there. To delete, you just select it, and you can hit the delete button on your keyboard, and it will give you a pop-up to delete it. Now, a nice thing that we can do is place the same param on different pages. Now, imagine in my general page, I want to show the authorization token in this case, but I don't want to make it writable. So I could say, well, I'm going to, you can't really see it. Let's move this a little bit. I'm going to search with my filter box for my authorization token. So I can just look for instance, token, and it will filter on authorization token. In this case, I want param 1. You can see that this is the name of my param. This is showing my description, so that's where there's a difference in there, but it's param ID 1. The ID is always a nice reference because it's unique. You know exactly this is the item I'm going to use. Now I can drag and drop this thing on maybe my namespaces page. Let's just imagine that this is a new one, and I can select the right. Now in this example, I wanted to show my general page was going to show the read component. Let's disable the write, and my namespaces is going to show the read and the write itself. When I would publish this and test it, I will see that my general page just has the read component, and in my namespaces, I have my read component and a writable box. And that's why you will always find two param definitions whenever you have a read-write combination. They will be placed on the same position, so my read and write are on the same position. That's why you have one window here. DataMiner will know this is my combination via the name, the description, don't yet worry about the definition itself, but DataMiner will know that this is linked together, and I will show it as grouped component. Now, I'm not going to save this change just yet. Let me cancel it, open the display editor again. So this was layout organization, but I can make some changes to my param definition as well. So I do not necessarily need to go in the code behind. For instance, you can find here a edit parameter. We can change the name, we can change the description, we can set a range on items. There's also a tooltip. When you double click on your param on screen, you will find some information. So you can actually fine tune this, make sure that it's understandable. It's not the underlying definition of the raw value itself, but it's actually representing what you as a developer wanted to accomplish with this displayed value. So I'm now going to just add test to this tooltip and apply my change. And I'm going to use the publish button within DataMiner Integration Studio. Now, how can I publish this, or where will it publish it to? I have my setup linked to this Visual Studio. We can do this by clicking on DIS, the settings, and then make sure I can add DataMiner connections. So I can set up a connection and then publish. It's the same as uploading my protocol definition as we've done before, but then in a very quick way. Let's go back to my definition. I've made a small change and let's upload it. Publishing, you can choose, if you would have multiple agents in there, you can choose, I'm going to select where it needs to push this to. So whenever you're developing, you do not necessarily need to save your XML, go to the System Center or the protocols and templates, go to upload and set it there. You can just quickly click on publish and see your changes applied already. Now let's go to DataMiner itself. I still have my test here open, and we had our general page, and I've made a small change on the total CPU capacity. Let's open it up, and I can see my test here already. Let's go back. We have our core definition, and we can use the display editor to make some small changes on our parameter. Now, one of the most important things we want to achieve is make sure that we can have alarming and trending available. That's where these icons come in. I can disable them. I don't want to make it available, or I do want it possible to have trending, to see your history in there, and have alarming availability as well. Now I keep saying available, available, available. It's not because we will define this in here that it will already activate the trending or activate that monitoring to make sure that we have alarms. What it will do is make sure that this parameter becomes part of our template. So as soon as we select template for this version, I will be able to just enable this one, apply my template to my element, and then it will start activating. Now for alarming and trending, in this case, I can just enable it, making it available. In my definition, I can also set some default values. Now to show this, I'm going to use my alarm template again. Let's go to view and view this alarm template that already exists. So here I can see the parameter that was enabled for this template. And this one has values in there. So it could be that I manually filled this in when creating the template, but it could also be that it's by default in there. Now let's have a look on all the values that are available. So it's not enabled on my template, but it's available because it's available or made available in my definition. For instance, here I have my namespaces with again some default values. I can change this if I want to, but it makes it easier for me to just apply it, we'll enable it, apply my template, and there we go. So whenever you are developing something, as I mentioned, you need to think about what you're doing before you're actually going to code. You should think about what will be my alarming default values. What will make sense? And especially when you have a error messages, for instance, or an alarm indication, it will indicate it's okay, my status is okay, or it's an error. Well, it's quite obvious what your thresholds will be. Okay will be normal, and my error will be critical. Default values, quite useful thing. Make it as user-friendly. It's the same with the port settings. When you create an element, we wanted to make it as easy as possible. Same goes for your alarm template. Trend template works the same way. You will not have default values, of course, but you will indicate in your definition, I want trending enabled, remember the icon, and you will see your list of trendable components, and you will be able to select between real-time and average. So that's how you can make some small adaptations in your development.